evening, good evening, good evening. Well, here we are. I know it's a comedy channel and we're all supposed to be happy, but tonight's show is dedicated to who is commonly known to us within the entertainment industry and far ahead as the wonderful Stuart Masters, otherwise known as the Godfather. I can't tell you, my phone hasn't stopped all day, and the messages that that wonderful human being on there. And I can tell you the world is a sadder place without him. As we progress with this series, obviously, you know, there's funny stories and some stories about show business that are not really so funny. You know, not everybody in show business is nice. It's called show business, but not everyone is nice. That wonderful man on there was nice. He was a father figure to many, 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 many people. I dread to think how many, just by the few that, you know, I've had on the phone today, phone calls, and you know, some of the girls that he's obviously helped through difficult times, and us fellow comedians. You know, there's nothing worse than, you know, struggling on a gig, or I don't know, maybe not even getting there because of the traffic or the Dartford Bridge is closed or whatever it is, and you feel sick. But that man on there was always on the end of the phone to cheer you up and tell you that tomorrow's another day. So I really do, on behalf of all of my people in show business that have contacted me, and some that obviously hundreds, that probably thousands that Stuart's touched, that I don't know everybody, that I truly say that we dedicate tonight to him, his humour, his love, his caring, his generosity, and I could go on, you know, and who knows, maybe we could do a special show just dedicated to him when everybody's kind of feeling a little bit better. But for tonight, we dedicate it and we raise a glass to our Stewie. Great memories for me. We used to meet, which was a kind of halfway mark, in a friend of mine's hotel down in Bournemouth. And there would be a few of the agents, you know, Dave Woodbury from obviously down that end, and Red, who's mother hen to all the girls down in Bournemouth, and Maxine Cummins, obviously myself, Martin and Rosanna that own the hotel, obviously over there. Many a night spent sitting telling silly stories. If it's one thing us entertainers have all got, no matter where you are or what level you're at, you've all got a funny, silly story. And that's why this channel is having the success it is, because it's all about the stories. And so, you know, up there, laughter in the sky, is Stuart, a little angel that's going to join all the other funny men and women. So there we are. We love you, Stewie. Mwah. This is for you. And on that note, I introduce you to our illustrious Lord Christopher Bartholomew. If there's ever a colourful character in the entertainment industry, it's him. And he certainly touched my life. But let's hear it from the man himself. Hello, Chris.
How are you? Nice to see you.
Can I say I don't have to do all that Lord Bartholomew all night, do I?
No, you're quite at liberty to call me whatever you want. Just Lord will do.
So there we are. Anyway, great to have you here this week. And
thank you. Sorry about last week. It was one of those weeks. Sorry, everybody. We had a dilemma in Croydon, so we'll leave it at that, shall we?
If ever there's a place, Croydon has got plenty of dilemmas. For those of you who don't know, Christopher holds the highest esteem where I'm concerned, because it was his fatal words one day when Joe Longthorne was well enough. He said, you know, I think I'm going to put Joe Longthorne on a Sunday night at the London Palladium. He said, and I'd like you to do the first half. So publicly in front of everybody, thank you for that. Very special moment. More so that I was able to get 1,700 people singing happy birthday to my mum, which was very special, even if she did scold me afterwards. And she went, that was your moment. You didn't need to do that. But I did need to do it. And it was lovely to do it. And of course, it was greater for Joe and Jamie Moran and the rest of the band. Made it an absolutely special night. And we thank you for that, Chris. So thank you for what you did.
Pleasure. Well, you know, you deserve it. You've helped a lot of people over a lot of years, Adrian. Not a lot of people know what you do, or you're not as appreciated as you should be through the industry. And in my eyes, you're one of the real mensch. You're a real person. And I thank you. Not only you thank me, I thank you for being there with me, alongside me, time and time again for many, many years.
Thank you. Because I've got my bog roll here, I'll be using it. And between you and Stewie, I'll be the comedy channel's going to be. But in actual fact, I mean, what a journey you've had. I mean, yeah, maybe we'll touch a little bit later on about some of your musical journey, because we're talking about a lot of the comedians that you've worked with, obviously, because you
and not only the ones I've worked with, the ones that have crossed my path in other sort of areas of life, really. You know, I never worked with Frank Carson, but Frank Carson was a big part of my life when I was in Blackpool. As you know, I lived in Blackpool when Joe was relaunched after his bone marrow transplant, and we tried to get him into a fit state because his legs didn't work, but we got him pretty well, and we got him doing 40-50 gigs a year. But Frank was living in Blackpool along with a lot of other comics. And the meeting place was always the Queen's Hotel.
Remember it well. Pat Mancini, she was at the Palladium. She was sat right in the middle. She was sat right in the middle, and Joe sung one of his special songs to her.
Yeah. Many, many nights in the Queen's Hotel, let me tell you, with Pat holding court. And Frank Carson giving it the Frank Carson Music 10. Queen's Hotel, Blackpool. Thank you very much.
I was saying last week, funny enough, that my memory of him, he seemed to be the first up in the morning and last to bed at night.
Oh, mate, it was unbelievable. Unbelievable. Frightening the life out of you. He had so much life in him. He was a complete and utter ray of light through everybody's life in Blackpool. He never let you down. He was always there for everybody. Smile, never ever saw him upset. Great man. Great loss to the industry. Great loss.
I think the thing that sticks in my mind from a comic point of view is that he's the only comedian I've actually seen that can just, in a room of, say, 1,000 people, just stand up where he is eating his dinner and go, "In Italian about the band
Absolutely.
And he sits down and eats his soup.
Do you remember the Variety Club Award night?
Yes.
In Manchester. You were there.
Yes.
And Joe's Variety Club Award. But he and Chubby Brown completely stole it. Completely stole the stories of Joe. But that was him. Chubby, we all know Chubby's Chubby. But Frank, phenomenal. Phenomenal man, and a lovely, lovely guy with it. No side, no delusions of grandeur. He was who he was. Never pretended, never lied, never cheated. Great man.
Interestingly, I mean, perhaps you could answer a couple of things for people that are watching, that maybe some people that perhaps are a bit younger, they don't actually understand the magnitude of Joe Longthorn's fame and in his ability to fill theatres at that rate. I touched on it last week, but and then of course he was funny himself, wasn't he, Joe? Joe was a brilliant comedian.
Well, Joe's start, it really was in the big time was with Russ Abbott in the Russ Abbott Laughter Show.
Oh, Russ Abbott.
Right. I mean, he started on television, but we're not talking about Junior Showtime back with Jess Yates. We're talking about the time that he got his big break was 87, before he actually got the Joe Longthorne show on a Saturday night. He and Russ Abbott did the Laughter Show together. And he was a funny man. Very, very funny man. Very clever timing too. His timing was unbelievable. You know that, Aid.
I always found myself sitting behind the gentleman that does the jewelry on the jewelry show. You know, on the
Oh, you mean
the
Ian?
pricing up. Who is it? Yeah,
Ian.
That's him. Yeah, Ian. That's the one. Yeah, that's him. Yeah, he would sit there, and I've sat behind him while Joe's doing the impersonation. £1. £1.
And it isn't. It's got a crack in it. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
The vase has got a crack in it. Yeah. Wonderful. What was his name? Ian what? I can't remember his name, you know. I've got a picture of him here. Me and him somewhere.
Not Mitchell.
Here he is. Look. Let me get up and get him.
Had a crack in it because it was a minge vase.
Minge vase, that's it. There's Ian.
There he is. Oh, it's a bit dark there, but yeah, we can. Oh, there he is. He's on the right hand side. Everyone will remember him now on the television. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, yeah. Ian. Yeah, maybe
I can't remember.
Look him up.
I can, but I can't. You know, sorry.
All right. We have the technology. We can do these things. Yeah.
What was his name, Ian?
Don't worry. It'll come up in a minute.
Well,
right. Yeah. From the road show, wasn't it? With the other fella with the funny tan, puts all the tan
David Dickinson.
David Dickinson.
Dickinson's real deal.
Dickinson's real deal. That's it. Dickinson's real deal. Yeah.
I know him really well. I just can't. And his husband I know really well, but I just can't. His surname's gone. Double-barreled surname.
Yeah, come up in a minute.
It'll come.
So, and then of course,
I'm 71. You know.
You're 71. Because Joe did Jersey quite a lot as well, didn't he? Like Jersey.
In the early days, yes. In the early days, and that was his big break. With he got into 5 hotels on Jersey, run by Jim Lamey, who was probably one of the biggest in the set of the mid to late 70s. Yeah, about 75, 76, was one of the biggest hotel owners on Jersey, and he loved Joe. But in those days, Joe used to work with props.
Yeah,
it was all props in those days. But it really didn't work for Joe with props when he got to the big time. He couldn't ad lib with props. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? He found it very difficult to actually make it spontaneous because the props held him back.
Yeah.
You know, they were there and he knew they had to come at a certain time and they had to go through, which took his spontaneity away from him, which, as you well aware, he was one of the most spontaneous comics.
Ian Towering, was that it? Ian Towing?
Ian something Towning.
Towing. Something Towning.
Towning.
Ian Towning, yeah. Yeah, and I seem to recall because I was asked to do a Flanagan Allen tribute some years ago, and
I remember
you done a lot of the charity work for the Bud Flanagan Cancer.
I was on the committee of the Bud Flanagan Leukemia Fund. Yeah, with a lot of great people, a lot of great comics on that as well.
Tell us about that.
What was the fellow who did Clive the Cone?
The King of the One-Liners, Joe.
King of the One-Liners, Joe Goodman.
Joe Goodman, yeah.
What a comic that was! What a comedian. Clive the Cone. Remember Clive the Cone?
Yeah.
Threw me. I couldn't believe it. Unbelievable. Because we've just lost Tony Robinson as well, who was chairman of the Bud Flanagan Leukemia Fund for many, many years, raised millions of pounds for the Royal
Funny enough,
Marsden.
that's a theatre I've never worked there, the Windsor one. I rather fancy that.
Have you never done? That's where we
No.
used to have. That's
Yeah.
where we used to have our Royal Variety performance, which
Right.
was always attended by the Duke of Edinburgh.
Right. He didn't have far to go, did he?
That was the year that Robinson stuck me on the end of the front row. Oh, is that what you're leading me into? Oh,
I wouldn't do a thing like
there.
that.
Do you remember? Oh dear, oh dear.
No, I wasn't there.
So
But
no, you weren't there.
who was it?
I've sat on
Michael
it.
Barrymore?
Now, you normally always put me about 14 rows back.
Put your hand down. I can't see your face.
Sorry.
Yeah.
He always put me about 13, 14 rows back. And all of a sudden, I'm at the second row on the end. I thought, there's something going on here. Something's wrong here. And all of a sudden, I'm up on stage on the bloody ventriloquist knee with his hand up my back. I thought, and when we're in the lineup later, the Duke's coming down the lineup, isn't he? And he said, absolutely wonderful, wonderful. Did you rehearse it? I said, rehearse it, sir. Ask that bastard next to me. Choo-choo train I was.
Was you?
Choo-choo train, yeah. Choo-choo.
I'd have paid good money to see that.
A lot of people did.
So
if it had been the internet at the time, it would have gone viral.
Do you think that you'll go back into that with what's the name dying? Do you think that there must be?
Well, I've been asked by somebody, but I don't know. Yeah. It's been a long time, and I'm not getting any younger either, and it's a big responsibility. Bernie Correll did a great job. Joe did a great. Tony did a great job. Joe Goodman did a great job. But filling the 9 King Suite at the Royal Lancaster with 1,000 people paying £100 a time, and then which doesn't take a lot of working out. You've taken 100 grand, and then getting 50, 60 items for auction, running the boxing twice a year, running the comedians' nights twice a year. It's not the easiest thing in the world. I'll probably get back.
Or should I say we've done it? It's probably I was going to say I've done it. We've done it.
Well, we did it for Joe Pyle, of course.
Yeah.
God rest his soul. A real man. Cometh the man, cometh the hour.
That was your line, wasn't it? I do.
The line.
You touched on Chubby Brown earlier, and he's up at Blackpool, isn't he? This summer, is he?
Well, we've got a theatre, haven't we, up in Blackpool now, everybody? So everybody, when you get to Blackpool, get to North Pier, because I need your money. Seriously, I need your money. Yeah, we've got a little. We've taken a lease on the James Moran, and Jamie Moran has taken the lease on the North Pier Theatre. It's now been renamed in Joe's honour because Joe loved that theatre. He actually moved in there one summer. Used to get the milkman down the pier, delivering milk.
I've heard that.
Seriously,
they mentioned that at his funeral. Funny enough,
seriously,
that he moved in. Yeah,
he moved into one of the dressing rooms. Had a bed moved in. He had the milkman coming down the pier in the milk truck. You've never seen anything like it in your life. He had television. He had you remember they were the days of the dishes. He had a bloody dish, a satellite dish put up so he could have his television. It's phenomenal, man.
And of course, it's great that Jamie.
But it's now called the Joe Longthorne Theatre rather than the North Pier Theatre, which is a great thing. And then we've got the museum at the side of it, which is also a studio for about 120 people, where we've got people like Tommy Cannon on, Freddie Parrotface Davis, Darren Day, dear old Darren. There, God bless you, Darren. Quite a few good acts there. If you look at blackpoolpiers.com, you'll see what we've got on. Chubby Brown is doing one a month in the big theatre. I was
going to say, I was going to cut in there and just make the point.
Sorry, my apologies.
How good of you and Jamie, because obviously being a privately owned theatre, you're not subject to some of the sort of wokeness that seems to be happening.
Absolutely
to
not
some
at
of
all.
the other
That's why we
comedians.
took it.
Yeah. You know, and of course the great thing is it's sold out, isn't it? Every night's been sold out. I mean,
well,
that's the
I mean, close. It's hard work to sell it out completely. Although there are no circle seats there. There are no pillars. There's the biggest proscenium arch in the north of England. For anybody that doesn't know what a proscenium arch is, it's what holds the top of the it's what goes from one side of the stage to the other. So you've got no restricted view, you've got no circle, you've got no pillars, you've got 1,500 stall seats, and I mean we opened in April on April Fool's Day this year, which was Easter Monday, wasn't it?
Yeah,
I believe it was.
I was worried for you guys because obviously you're just taking it over when the lockdown came, of course.
Yeah, it was a bit of a poke in the eye with a sharp stick.
Jesus.
And then when they let us open it, they said you had to have 2 spaces between people, so we could only open it with a 500 capacity, which meant we were losing money on a sellout. So it was we had a great time, but we've got it. You know, it's under control. It's under control now. We had 1,100 people in for Chubby to open it.
You touched on the Variety Club Award dinner, and that was the first time I met Chubby then. And of course, just for people out there, and in particular, people.
Roy, dear old Roy.
You know, I mean, there he is, the man. And, you know, I mean, obviously I've read his biography. Good friend of mine, Gary Roundtree, wonderful comedian, does a fabulous tribute to him. So if you can't get to Blackpool, check out.
Oh, he's amazing.
He does, you know, and we're working with him in Northampton. Later in the year. No. We promoted it last week. Actually, it might come up again. But
no, so you're not at the main theatre. You're at one night.
No, it's kind of, I don't know what it is. I suppose it would be. It's like a cabaret venue, really. Anyway, there's loads of acts on, but that wasn't what I was going to say. What I was going to say is that, of course, what people get confused with is that when Roy goes to work to become Chubby Brown, he's an act of Chubby Brown. And I can say to you about fear of contradiction that the most gently spoken, polite, I've never heard him say bloody, let alone swear.
He doesn't swear.
You know, and I know when I read
Royston Vasey is his name.
Yeah. But when he in his biography, he makes a point where he makes a point about the fact that he gets quite offended if people were to swear in front of him or his wife.
Absolutely, yeah. He's a very, very shy, reserved man.
Yeah.
Off that stage, it's as if you turn a light off when the flying helmet comes off, and Chubby becomes Roy again.
Here's something I learned the other night. We'll have Danny Blue on here, but basically, Danny Blue was a drummer. Chubby Brown was a drummer. Jim Davis was a drummer.
And
Dave Lee was a drummer.
Who else was a drummer?
Go on.
Johnny Casson.
Yeah. So there's 5. I'm the odd one out. Although I have
You're a bummer.
I've got a what's that? The old ukulele up there indoors.
Have you?
Yeah, I'll tell you, it belonged to Wayne. Do you remember Wayne? Bless him.
Yeah.
Wayne. Let's have a little drink of Wayne.
We had. Do I remember Wayne? Yeah,
oh, bless his heart. Oh, look, there he is. There's Wayne for everybody. Fabulous singer. Wayne Adams. A real man's man.
A real
right there.
Performer. A real man.
Absolutely amazing. Man. He was amazing. I spoke to him on the 4th of July he said, I don't feel too good, Aid. He said,
And he was
anyway,
dead
he said,
on the
I'm going to
pitch.
go down, have a checkup. He said, I'm going to go down, have a checkup. He said,
I
and
remember, Aid.
I'll let you know how I get on. 14 days later, he was gone. Boom.
Yeah.
Break my
Remember
heart.
when we used to go down and see him working on his boat in the boat?
Yeah. I'll tell you a funny story.
I've never met Adrian before tonight, really, but we've rehearsed this.
This is a story of an uncle of mine who was in the Navy, and he was in the Navy, and he passed away, and he wanted to be buried at sea. So it took us a while to actually get the weather right, and eventually we go out. We've got my auntie who's 90 sitting in a chair. He's there steering the boat. My cousin's laying down putting petals in. I'm outside. I suddenly thought, blimey, I haven't said goodbye to him yet, so I'll cry my eyes out, waiting to say goodbye. And my mum handed him out of a Sainsbury's for Life carrier bag and gave him to me. She's standing there holding the bag, and as I put him into the water, bless his heart, I heard my auntie say, she went, Lena. That's my mother's name. She went, Lena. She said, don't throw that bag in. I need it. I don't know. People often ask you, where does humour and sadness start and finish? And I'll tell you what, it's a cigarette paper. That's for sure.
My phone's gone off.
Has it? Okay. Well, I can still hear you. So, yeah. So that was that. Yeah. Talking about Wayne, I was quite pleased because I obviously didn't know he was going to die, and he went behind. He come backstage with me at the Palladium and helped me and everything else. And once again, of course, there's always that situation where you want to. I don't know. Well, there's a time when you should stop. You know, sometimes you can stop, and you need to actually just take deep breath and just have something to eat and just chill out. You've done as much as you can do and get ready for the show. And that's what Wayne brought to the party for me. And he went, come on, AG. He said, let's go next door and have get a sandwich and a drink. And that's what I did. And
but that's what he did.
Yeah.
That's what he did, Wayne. He
was good like that. Yeah.
He was real. Let's put it that way. I've lost you, Adrian. Where are you?
No, I'm still here. Don't worry about that.
Okay.
I'm still here now about it. Anyway, tell me about Keith Harris then. Where did you first meet Keith?
In the Queen's Hotel.
Oh, right.
Another one. It used to be the back room at the Queen's Hotel was comedian's room. Keith Harris was there. Roy Walker was always there. What's the fella we went to his house and who had the stroke?
Duncan Norvell.
Duncan
Norvell, yeah.
Duncan
There's
Norvell.
Roy Walker. There's Roy looking smart there.
So it's good, but it's not right. It's good, but it's not right.
Oh dear. Now Duncan, funny enough,
I put him on at that club. Do you remember? With you,
yeah.
Same night,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
you were on with Frank Carson.
Yeah, I'd forgotten that. I'd have milked that a bit more if I'd remembered.
Oh.
All I remember is you'd put them on.
Me
I think
pulling you off stage. Is that what?
Yeah,
you
I should think
remember?
so. It was like following the Royal Variety Show, wasn't it? I've never been so pleased. I think it's about the only time I've ever been taken off, and I was actually I couldn't. I nearly bought you a bloody pint for pulling me off. No, it was what you must have started the entertainment at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, didn't you?
Yeah, we had the best Rod Stewart impersonator on. We had Frank Carson, Duncan Norvell, somebody else, and you.
And about 9:45 at night, when they were all asleep in the front row, you put me on, you rotten bugger. Don't laugh. Don't laugh. Don't let me hit you live on air. But I'll tell you something on a serious note around Keith Harris and that. It's great to watch his daughter going from strength to strength. Have you seen his daughter? Absolutely talented girl. We're going to see a lot of her. Absolutely amazing. So there we are.
Can you hear me, Aid?
Yes, I can.
I seem to have gone off screen.
No, don't worry. I'm sure there's a reason for it.
Here I am.
After last week, this is a great step forward. Don't worry about that. So talk about Bobby Ball then. Was he back at? Was he backstage?
Bobby was Bobby, wasn't he? He was. We got Tommy Cannon on actually on the pier. He's on in the small room on the pier, the studio. But Bobby used to come round the house when we lived in Pat Mancini's house. Joe, me, Jamie, John Boy, Keith. The captain's house up on. I don't know if you ever went there, did you?
No.
But he used to come round on a regular basis with his guitar and just sit in the front room with us. And I mean, you can't make those moments. Those moments will never, those comedians will never, ever, ever, ever be made again. Les Dawson used to come round. You know, you can't make that up.
All sitting there in the front room.
All sitting in Joe's front room. I mean, you pinch yourself.
And Frank Carson going, yeah, tell you about at 4 in the morning.
Here's a cat. And then PJ Proby turns up. I mean, you know, what's it? Where Engelbert Humperdinck turns up. Can't happen. It can't. It don't happen in real life. I thought you're pinching yourself every Wednesday.
What did they have? A Wednesday club or something?
Wednesday club, yeah.
Oh, is that what they actually called it? A Wednesday?
It was Wednesday club.
Oh. What's that? Because they've all got over there. They've all got over travelling around the country.
I don't know.
Monday,
it always happened on a Wednesday. I think never a Tuesday or a Thursday. It was Wednesday. Amazing. Going
back to Duncan Norvell, I mean, wasn't that a beautiful house he had up there in the north up there?
Oh, what we couldn't believe that house. His wife threw him out though, didn't she?
I don't know how that worked.
Yeah, we don't get on anymore, so his wife did throw him out, yeah.
Oh, right. Okay. So anyway, I do get on with him very well. And I had him on.
But his wife still threw him out.
I'll do the funniest.
When you're going to change the habits of a lifetime.
when he, I had him after the stroke. He came to Black Tiger.
I love him. Don't get me wrong. He's a great comedian.
Yeah. And then, funny enough, that was the first time I actually heard, because obviously he struggles with the walking a little bit and that, but he can stand. But nevertheless, he changed his catchphrase to chase me to push me, and I thought that was such a beautiful thing. What a beautiful, do you know what I mean? It just shows you, doesn't it? You know, that
clever man.
You know,
and a great comedian. Great comedian. And then, of course, there's all of them. Joe. What about the night Joe Longthorne did the Bruce Forsyth 70th birthday party?
You know what? I only watched that the other day. What a phenomenal 7 minutes that is.
Yes, 6 minutes 40 seconds it was actually.
Was it really?
Yeah. And then the other time we did Don Black's 70th birthday. For those of you who don't know, Don Black is probably one of the greatest lyricists in the same vein as Tim Rice. He's written more hits. He wrote If I Never Sing Another Song, Born Free, Ben for Michael Jackson. I mean, some amazing stuff. He's written 4 Bond themes. He's got 5 Oscars, 4 Emmys, 3 Tonys. I mean, it's just... So we're doing his 70th birthday, and Joe's closing the first half. Michael Parkinson's the host. We've got Shirley Bassey's MD, and a 48-piece orchestra. So Joe's come on saying If I Never Sing Another Song, which was actually written for Matt Monro by Don Black, but Joe made his own. And if you listen to Don Black talk about Joe, he said Joe earned that song because it was never easy for Joe in show business. I know I go on about him, but I love him and I miss him. And there you go. Sorry, everybody.
We're allowed on here. We're not.
Are we allowed?
No TV executives here. We are the TV executives.
No,
and our special shout out to Nigel Cross, the producer, that's actually making all these little bits happen. At
Bless
the
you, Nigel. Thank you very much. And I'm sorry
Not
about
easy
last
dealing
week.
with us two. Not. Oh dear. Tell me about Christmas Day in Martinique. Then I've actually stayed in Martinique, in Switzerland. Didn't
Well, I was out in Martinique for Christmas and New Year. I think I'm trying to think. Must have been 2018. I'm on the beach in the capital. I've come down from the hotel, which was a little bit up the hill. I've come down and I'm sitting on the beach, and one of the big Royal Caribbean liners comes in. So the tender comes off, and all the people who want to come ashore, don't they, for the day? So we're sitting on the beach with the people. I said, "How's your cruise?" Guy said, all English. He said, "We're lovely. We're having a lovely time. Flew into Fort Lauderdale, out of Lauderdale. We're all round it. Oh, beautiful. St. Lucia yesterday. We're here in Martinique today." I said, "What's your entertainment good?" He went, "Oh, magnet, fabulous." I said, "Who's the mate?" He went, "Roy Walker." I thought, I'm 7,000 miles away and I can't get away from the kid. 7,000 miles and Roy Walker's out in the bloody boat. So I said,
"Oh, so hang on, I'm getting confused. I'm thinking of there's a Montanique in Switzerland. You're in Montanique in
Martinique.
Oh, Martin. All right.
Martinique,
you're in Europe.
Caribbean.
Yeah. You're in the Caribbean. Wow.
Yeah, we were in the Caribbean for Christmas and New Year. And you've done it now, Aid. What have you done? Oh, I've got it. So I said, "Will you tell him Chris the Greek's here?" The next thing I know, the tender's gone back. There's a private tender come over with a little Irishman going, "Where is he? Where is he?" I went, oh dear, what are you doing to me? Roy Walker, 7,000 miles away from home. You can't make it up, can you? Can't make it up.
I know we're going a bit off topic, but I just think that I was saying last week that I watched the Queen story, which of course leads us nicely on to the
That's nice.
Live Aid, and you're you bobbing across the stage with a slightly better head of hair than you got tonight, I have to say.
Well, yeah, it was a mullet. It was a Pat Sharp mullet I had.
Oh, was that what your Pat Sharp mullet?
Do you remember that night we were all in Crazy Cox for that amazing comedian? What was his name? Russ Kane.
Oh,
what a show that was!
No, don't go on to go to bloody Live Aid. That's what I want to talk about.
Oh, well,
how did you come to put Phil Collins on the helicopter? Let's do that one. That's a good one.
Well, the story back in those days. Where are you, Ed?
You're here. You're on the screen.
All right, okay.
Instead of seeing it, you're on, and I'm not. Yeah, that's it.
Right. Okay. Back in those days, of course, we had supersonic travel, and Harvey Goldsmith, in his infinite wisdom, decided that what he was going to do was, once Phil Collins had finished his set at Wembley, he was going to get a helicopter into the car park, take him from there to Heathrow, stick him on Concorde, fly him to New York, JFK, from JFK, take him by helicopter to Philadelphia, and then let him play at the same time that he played on the British stage. And it happened.
That is phenomenal.
Can't happen again because there's no supersonic travel anymore. You actually used to arrive in the States before you left England.
Wow.
You actually arrived. And now, when we used to go and sign contracts for Harvey and they were important, he'd fly you out Concorde, but you came back on a bus. Yeah, you think I'm joking?
Dear.
No, good old days.
So, is there any other? I mean, obviously, without incriminating anybody, was there any? What was the atmosphere like back there? Because it must have been absolutely manic, wasn't it? Something like that.
Well, it all started about January, February, because you know that it happened on July the 13th, 1985. One of the hottest days of the year at that time. 100,000, but it had never been done in the UK before. No one had ever played a stadium before that time.
Really?
No, there'd never been a stadium gig in the UK.
Oh, I say.
I mean, there's Glastonbury and there, but there's never been a stadium gig.
Right.
And Geldof came and Midjure. Actually, Midjure doesn't get mentioned enough in all this. Everybody remembers Bob and Gavisham money, but nobody remembers that actually Midjure did more work than Bob behind the scenes. So a big shout out to Midjure from Ultravox. What it really was that he got 5 or 6 promoters who'd worked for him, said, right, I want you to work for 6 months for nothing, which we did. You know about that. We did 6 weeks for nothing, you and I. We didn't have mobile phones, of course. Everything was done with a telephone or a telephone box or a fax machine. For those of you who were very young, fax machines used to paper used to come out of them and tell you what you needed to do. But and then we all had pagers. You remember pagers?
Yeah, I had a pager.
Yeah, that's all we had, and it said ring this number. But it all. Hold on, Crystal Palace have scored against Newcastle. So if everybody, Palace are 1-0 up against Newcastle. So if all of you, anyone interested? No.
Well, no. Did you do that in the middle of Live Aid, by the way? I just thought I'd ask for a friend.
Many times. Why wouldn't I? Have I ever changed? Have I ever changed?
I'm sure everybody
in the 20 odd years you've known me.
I'm sure there's in unison. There's probably thousands of people right now going, "Nah."
I don't think I ever needed to.
Probably long after we've left this planet, if this is still circulating around there in the outer clouds of the universe, they'll all be going, "Nah." So it was a memorable thing. Does that actually stick in your mind?
I've never made excuses for myself.
No. Does that stick in your mind as one of your greatest moments, or is there some other ones that you think?
I think Marvin Gaye was the greatest moment for me. Princess Margaret, when she called me a shyster at Frimley Green.
From a comedian's point of view, you did line yourself up there, I must confess, but we'll move on.
What do you mean I did line myself up? Oh. He fell through the curtain. He fell through the curtain.
For the people watching this, right, it's before my time, obviously, but I did go to Frimley with Chris, and as we walked in, the gentleman that owned it,
God rest him. God bless him.
Who was it? Bob, wasn't it?
No, it was Bob Potter, and it was Austin. Austin in the ticket office went, Chris, I wouldn't go in. He still remembers 1981. I went, oh, leave it out, Austin. And he came out, Bob Potter. He said, you, Princess Margaret. I went, I know what she called me, Bob. This is 37 years later.
Can you explain to the people what happened?
Well, we didn't have mobile phones again, obviously, in 1981. I don't want to go into too much detail about his health or what he was, Marvin, because people have asked me to write books about it, and I'm not going to do that.
No, I'm not asking you to do that. I'm asking you to explain.
You know that I can tell the stories about a lot of people.
Yes.
And that one of our dear friends that we won't mention here has tried to cajole me into doing a book for the last 10, 15 years. but wants me to tell the stories, and I won't tell those stories about dead people.
Yeah, no,
And that's probably why my name is still all right.
Yeah,
because I don't like people who tell stories. And
yeah,
anyway, Marvin's late. Let's just put it that way, shall we?
that's right.
I can't find him. Cool Black, who is his dresser, is with him in a limo somewhere on the A3, maybe. We don't know.
With a full house.
And Princess Margaret and Lord Snowden. Get that one.
And you're there getting told off.
He turns up an hour and a half after he's supposed to go on, out of his box. That's all I'm going to say. Gets up on stage and fell through the curtain. Princess Margaret threw her gin and tonic up in the air. Something she did all the time anyway, normally. But I walked over and said, "I'm really sorry, Mum." She went, "I've come out all this way tonight. You're a shyster. The man can't even sing." Bob Potter, you know, he reminds me of it every time I walked into Primley Green. 30 years go past, he still reminded me of it. 40 years go past, believe me, he'll still be reminding me of it. I don't go back anymore. I've had enough Austin. And poor old Austin, he used to get it in the neck. Don't tell.
Of course, when you first started with Harvey Goldsmith, I understand you looked after Diana Ross. Is that true?
Yeah, I'm not going to go into that story either.
I'm just saying that. Did you look after her?
Yeah, you were. That's exactly what you were asking me to do. Yes, you were. Yes, you were.
Well, you could say you went shopping.
I know very well that you were.
You could say you were going to go shopping. You could say you went shopping.
I'm not going to talk about going shopping with Diana Ross. No.
All right, shoplifting.
Go on. Go on. Yes, I did look after Diana Ross. End of. She was fabulous too.
Oh dear. I remember seeing her in that. Do you remember she done Central Park right up high and the wind's blowing and the rain and then she just carried on.
Hair. Oh man.
Yeah.
She looked fabulous on a pillow.
Yeah. But
not
you was only not you so you were only in your 20s then, am I right? Is that right?
21. 1974, Lady Sings the Blues tour.
Would you sort of starstruck in those days with these people, or was you sort of too involved in?
To a certain extent, I suppose. I was with her. She was. I was only 21, Aid.
Yeah.
This is Diana Ross.
Yeah.
She was.
That's why I asked you.
I know. All right, go on.
Anyway, there we are. So
for those who don't know the story, it didn't happen.
It didn't happen. No, okay. Said the girl to the vicar.
Are you in? I said no.
So we got Diana Ross.
Are we about
Collins.
Time?
Pardon?
How are we doing?
We're all right. We're just nearly going to finish up in a couple of minutes. So, is there anything you'd like to say before I get carried away?
I'd like to thank you very much for leading me in such a professional way for someone who stands in the wings normally. I've made it my life's work not to be on stage, because once that spotlight hits me, I'm buggered. I'm great off stage, but once I get on that stage, I'm a quivering wreck.
You've probably wet the whistle now of a few podcasters. The phone won't stop ringing. There she is, the lovely Diana Ross. Look. There she is. For those that don't know who Diana Ross is, I'm sure there can't be anyone that's alive that doesn't know who Diana Ross is, but who knows? There we are. What I would say to you is, if you're watching us for the first time, thank you. You know, if you're watching us around our Stewie earlier, then don't be too sad, because he definitely wouldn't want you to be too sad. He wouldn't want us to be too sad. Definitely not. As much as a shock that it is. But as he'll tell you himself. I think somebody actually said to me that he said, what was it? He said to one of the comics about being, he said, "Oh, I'm holding the wreck together," I think was his words, bless his heart. But yes, whether you're watching them to pay tribute to Stewie tonight, or whether you're on here for the first time, or maybe you're not watching it live, please like and subscribe, and then we can really start getting some more people of the ilk of like our Lord Christopher Bartholomew there. Once again, he apologised for not quite making it last week, but there you go. You know what they say: if you want something done, ask a busy person. So there he is, a busy person. But Christopher, we thank you. I thank you for the colour that you brought to my life, and good Lord, it's a colour. And if I ever write a book, there'll certainly be some funny things in that, that's for sure. But apart from that, from the UK Comedy Channel, thank you very much for tuning in, as I used to say. And special thanks to the Haven last Friday. There was a few hundred of them in the yacht club in the Haven. If anybody hasn't been to the Havens lately, I can highly recommend them. They have been taken over by a big conglomerate, and they are spending millions of pounds. And the yacht club that I played last Friday was absolutely pristine, spotless, right on the sea front there. The staff are second to none, beautifully looked after, and of course I had a great audience. So if you're watching from there, thank you very much. But I think that just about wraps us up. That wraps us up for tonight. Absolutely great. Next week we're going to try and get Danny Blue on, who I joined as part of the Oddball Balloon Dancers, and we had 30 years of charging around the country, causing mayhem and laughter, and raising money for charities, and just generally enjoying life, for which I'm eternally grateful. So I bid you good night. Once again, final toast to our Stewie, Stuart Masters, ladies and gentlemen. God bless him. Stewie. Good night. God bless.